Rodeo Drive here in Beverly Hills. Now, it's unlikely that any of our competitors will be popping into any of the famous names along this street. Skinny jeans and figure-hugging tops are hardly what is needed, perhaps least of all for Britain's strongest man. Even at 6'6" and 30 stone, Terry Hollands knows that he faces the biggest of tests here in the USA as he strives to become world's strongest man 2007. There was joy for Terry Hollands 6 months ago in Minehead as he became Britain's strongest man. Now the giant from Dartford must face the cream of world strongman, including the much-fancied newcomer Rickard Skog, the dynamo from the USA, Jason Bergmann, last year's finalist Raivis Vidzis from Latvia, and 1998's world's strongest man, the Swede Magnus Samuelsson. Quite a task for the best of Britain. To take you through the action, Nick Halling and Colin Bryce.
Well, only 2 spots remain for the final of the World's Strongest Man this year. Let's see who can claim them. And we start off with the medley, the duck walk, followed by that barrel carry. You've got 75 seconds to drag that weight.
Jason Bergmann from the United
and then
States.
work those 2 barrels. Jason Bergmann from the United States.
Skog from Norway.
And from Trondheim, Rickard Skog. A young man that's really starting to make a breakthrough into the international scene. Let's see what he can do here. Well, it's Bergmann being cheered on by his support group that's making easy work of the duck walk, but he's had to put it down. Now comes the difficult bit. The barrels, they're just slightly, the second one is slightly heavier. The problem is not that you can lift it, it's the fact that you can't get your arms around it, you can't get a grip, and they're half full of water and that stuff sloshes around all over the place. And it's this second barrel that really sorts them out. And Bergmann has slowed, and that's given Skog a chance. They're not allowed to push it forwards, they've got to carry it. Skog, and it's nip and tuck, isn't it? Neither man can quite get to the finish line. Skog's going to do it, and he does. Just about made it. The man from Norwegian Special Forces serves up a little bit something special there.
Well, 2 novices to the world's strongest man scene, putting in a decent performance for the first event. A lot of nerves there. Sunshine here, it's at least 38, 39 degrees, and, well, it's only 9 in the morning, isn't it? A lot of sweat, and those barrels are very hard to grip onto at the best of times. Bergmann there making almost a dive for the line, and it was Skog. He slightly dragged it over the line, but he got away with it.
Just about. Some generosity of officiating once again.
In lane 1, from England, Britain's strongest man, Terry Hollands.
Big tell from Dartford.
1998 strongest man, Magnus Samuelsson from Sweden.
Yeah, trying to reel in the years here, Magnus.
Vidzis from Latvia.
And Vidzis makes up a very, very strong quintet. It's a good group, this. Terry Hollands has made the fast start, but he's just dropped the iron there, but he's managed to stay in front. Hollands has got those long arms, and that could be a big advantage here as he goes for the barrels. He's destroyed the first one. Now, can he keep that rhythm going for the second one? Because Vidzis is right behind him.
He's a big man, Terry, but he's very quick on his feet. That history of rugby. And, well, can his fitness hold up here at 30 stone?
It's that second barrel that sorts him out, and it's a photo finish. Hollands just hangs on. Fast time. Vidzis will be very happy with his time.
He doesn't look out of breath at all, Terry. Looks like he's done his homework for this year, but poor old Magnus, remember that bad back last year, and he slightly brought it on again in the warm-up just before the event. Oh, he looks in real discomfort.
Yeah, he did, and I think, well, Magnus will have to settle for 5th place there. It's a flyer for Big Tell. And not bad at all in 2nd place for the Latvian.
So Terry Hollands, Britain's strongest man now, and he's living up to the billing here at Worlds.
So Terry, happy now?
Yeah, I'm pretty pleased. Not overly happy with the time. I'd like to have been closer to the faster guys in the other groups, but yeah, it was an okay start. Dropped the duck walk, maybe went off a bit mad with that. Managed to cut my finger open on the barrel as well, but yeah, I'm pretty happy. It's a win, isn't it?
Victory for Hollands, but there's still room for improvement. Raivis Vidzis will be delighted with 2nd spot, and Rickard Skog also looked impressive on his debut. Battle has commenced here in California. After the break, it's fingers. Welcome back to World's Strongest Man 2007. England's Terry Hollands has taken an early lead. To see how he gets on in the next event, here's Nick Halling.
And the next event is the Fingers. We love it. I'm not sure the competitors do. It's tough and it's draining. Let's meet our famous five.
Jason Bergmann, USA.
Magnus Samuelsson, Sweden.
Raivis, Vidzis, Latvia.
Skog, Norway.
Terry Hollands, England.
Lane 1, Raivis from Latvia.
The Latvian made a fast start. We'll look to keep it going here. Only 2 spots up for grabs,
Lane
remember.
2, Jason Bergmann from the USA.
A slow start for Bergmann. So he'll need to pick up good points here on the Fingers. Now, the trick is all about power, rhythm and technique. You've got to try and keep your arms outstretched, and that's a good start for Bergmann, and keep those legs pumping as well. What you don't want to do is let those fingers come down and rest. Happens, you've lost all your momentum, and it's pretty much end of story for you.
Well, I think these short guys really need to attack this fast as well. That's exactly what Bergmann's doing. Once he's getting it going, he's trying to keep the momentum up. Fast steps, driving hard. We could get caught here.
He's slowed, and it's Vidzis that's trying to catch him up. That's a good recovery from Bergmann. Now they're through 4, but you saw how they both struggled with that, these relatively little guys. So this 5th one could be a real test, but Vidzis is making his move, and for Bergmann, it's dropped onto the shoulder, and that's big trouble. Can Vidzis keep it going? Great stuff from Vidzis. Terrific from Bergmann too. Now that's unusual. You let it drop on your shoulder, that's usually the end of the game, but somehow Bergmann managed to turn it around, and a pretty decent time as well. But what about Vidzis? 46.19. That's fast.
Yeah, it's very fast. We've seen some guys doing down into the low 30s, but that's usually the 6'6", 6'7" guys. For 2 guys of their height, around about 6 foot, to finish all 5, very good.
Up next, one of those big guys, young Skog. And the first thing that you know about this fella is it's not Richard. He will tell you it's
Ladies and
Ricard.
gentlemen,
Colin Bryce made the mistake of calling him Richard. Nearly ended up in the state of Oregon as a result.
Take your position.
Now let's see how Ricard gets on here. He's got a lot of good height and a lot of raw power, but it's not just power, it's technique. And let's see if he's got good technique. Well, those arms are locking, that's a good sign. But there you see, he managed to lose a little bit of time there because he ended up the wrong side of the finger.
Well, it nearly kicked back up into him as well. That wouldn't have been too comfortable, I'm sure.
But he's turned those first 3 over like they're matchsticks. But this 4th one, he's slowed again, and here's the technique and the lack of knowledge of how to do this. I mean, he's playing a dangerous game there, one-handed. That's a heck of a risk.
Well, I think he's just attacking it too slowly, but he's so tall. Just over 6'5" and weighing about 26, 27 stone. I mean, he's just a monster. He's using his body weight just to lean in against it.
And he's going to be probably, I think he may just have split the Latvian and Bergmann there. Vidzis, I think, will still be in front, but I think he's just nicked in ahead of Bergmann, and he has by less than a second. But it was all raw power. If this guy refines his technique, I mean, he's going to be a monster at this event. You don't often see the Fingers attacked one-handed. Now here's Terry Hollands, whose technique has really improved the more he's done this.
I started off in the sport back in 2003. I'd always liked the idea of doing strongman, but was persuaded to have a go at a competition by my girlfriend. I think it's actually just as important to be mentally strong as it is physically strong. I think a lot of it's just keeping your mind on what you've trained and relaxing when you can, but also just staying focused on what you've practiced, what you need to do, keeping your technique right, and that's pretty much the main struggle with it. You tend to lose your head a little bit maybe in the heat of the moment. Most of the guys with a big body weight tend to be a lot slower. I think that's the biggest advantage I've got, is I've got the combination of the two. The speed with my body weight. Not many days go by that you haven't got some sort of ache or pain or injury. It's a lot of sacrifice, but it's all worth it when you get the result at the end. Winning World's Strongest Man, for me, the ultimate title to have. I mean, World's Strongest Man for that year. It's amazing, so all the sacrifice is worth it. Generally, this year I haven't really got any weak events, so I'm pretty happy with how it's all going.
And in lane 1, Magnus Samuelsson from Sweden. Lane 2, Terry Hollands from England.
I wonder if this is going to be Big Tell's year. Knocked on the door for a little while now. And it says everything, I think, that Terry Hollands probably came into this group of 5 as being one of the favourites, one of the strong favourites to progress. Well, first of all, he's got to dispose of Samuelsson here, and he's got one eye on the clock as well. Vidzis is 46.19 is Terry's target. Samuelsson doing well just to stay with him, but Terry is so much smoother on this event these days.
Samuelsson's outstanding in this event as well. I mean, this is a great benchmark for Hollands as to how far he's come to be ahead of Magnus at the kind of event Magnus can just about beat anyone at. Hollands is flying here.
Magnus is catching him up, though, and this is going to be a photo finish, and it's Samuelsson that's nailed it. Oh, back in business, the old boy. And Hollands will have to be settling for second. And he looks very disappointed with himself, but there's no disgrace in losing to Magnus Samuelsson. The old man of this group reeled in the years there.
Well, I think he made just a little bit of a mistake on the last finger there, perhaps not quite getting his hand placing right. But, I mean, I know Hollands, he will not be happy with that at all. Terry likes to win, and he likes to win every single time. Oh, yeah, you can see there, he didn't quite get his rhythm correct. Shame for Hollands. Success for Samuelsson, though.
So, Magnus, coming out of last place in the first event, how important was it for you to win this event?
You know, the first event was a disaster for me, so I put myself in a position where I felt a lot of pressure on my shoulders. And this event, actually, for the first time in a long time, I was really nervous. So as I cleaned the first finger, I almost passed out. That's why the first 2 were pretty slow. And then I saw that Terry was in the lead. I just have to give it my all on the 4th one to catch him up. And on the 5th one, finally, I catched him and got him.
Impressive stuff from Magnus Samuelsson, but Terry Hollands will be bitterly disappointed. He usually excels at the fingers. Raivis Vidzis takes 3rd, but Skog can be very pleased. All 5 fingers at the first attempt. Hollands is still top. Magnus Samuelsson is making a move up the leaderboard, but it's the Latvian Raivis Vidzis who occupies the 2nd qualification spot. Well, if I can't find any clothes to fit me here on Rodeo Drive, it seems the next best thing to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy the in Beverly Hills. Now, Terry Hollands is looking as strong as this double espresso. To see if his good form can continue, let's head back to Anaheim.
Well, let's see what happens now with the overhead lift. No coffee here. It's just all about power. And, of course, a little bit of technique. That log weighs 275 pounds. All you've got to do is lift it over your head as many times as you can in 1 minute and 15 seconds. And making sure that you lock your arms in the process as well. These officials here watch these guys like hawks. If those elbows don't extend fully, you don't get a rep.
Skog from Norway.
Here's Skog, been taken under our very own Sven Karlsson's wing. A Norwegian veteran looking after a Norwegian junior. And it's an all-Scandinavian affair, this one, and here's a fella doesn't need any looking after. If you've won this title, you've got maximum respect. So it really is youth versus experience here. Let's see how Skog copes in the spotlight of Samuelsson.
Well, I think if Skog wants to be the man, he's got to beat the man. And right now, that's Magnus Samuelsson. And Samuelsson just showed that to Terry Hollands in the last event. Don't ever count out Samuelsson. He's a true champion. He's won just about every title there is, at least a couple of times. And he really does stick with the event. I mean, he's so badly built for this event, Samuelsson. Incredible long arms. He's 1 down at the moment. Now he's brought it even again.
Yep, level as they take a breather. Both looking at each other as if to say, what? Is that the best you got? There's a bit of kidology going on here. Skog, though, not a man you're ever going to intimidate. When you've been in special forces and you've been on duty in places like Afghanistan and Kosovo, a bit of strongman isn't going to bother you one little bit. Now Samuelsson looks to try and go in front, and Skog tries to stay with him, but it's the veteran that's got his nose in front here, and Skog is struggling. I don't think Skog's got any more. He's going to have to settle for 11 as we get the countdown. Samuelsson's still going. He's into the teens, but I think that's about it for Magnus. 13, not bad. And Richard Skog, or Rikard Skog as we should call him, says, you know what, I'm happy with 11, I'll take that. Oh, we all enjoyed that one. The old boy does it again.
I think Magnus is calling for a little oxygen there. He left absolutely everything out on the competition area. He looked tired at 8 reps, but he battled to 13.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next contestant from the United States of America, Jason Bergmann.
Now, Bergmann has a terrific build for this event, and he needs points in this event because he's bringing up the rear. That's why he gets to go on his own, and you never know if it's sometimes an advantage just to go on your own or not, because at least you haven't got one eye on the guy next to you. Sometimes that can really put you off your own rhythm. 13 is his target. Oh, and a wobble there after 3. But it's about balance, I think, more than anything else. I don't think that was a sign that he was losing power, but there again, he's struggling just to keep his balance here.
But look at the technique there. He's driving the left foot forward. He's obviously done quite a bit of Olympic lifting. Jerks it with his legs, and he's saving those small muscles, the triceps, for the end. This is good technique. It might look a little shaky. Oh, well, now it is getting a little shaky.
It was. It was. He started off with a bit of a stumble, then he really got his rhythm together, and then it all went again.
Still got time, though.
And he's doing the right thing, taking that breather. Nobody can just go and keep lifting this. Not even the great Pudzianowski can just keep lifting this without taking a break. So he gets to 11. So he's level with Rikard Skog. This to put him ahead. Is he going to lock those elbows? They've given it to him. But can he get one more? He needs another to get to Samuelsson, and they're roaring him on here. But I don't think he's got it. He's moved ahead of Skog. That's good news, but he can't catch Magnus.
Jason Bergmann scored 12.
Well, no one can accuse Jason of not trying his best there. Very quiet man. Not outspoken, not an extrovert at all, not like most of these guys, but he's tough.
You nearly said most of these Americans, didn't you? And then you rethought it. I know exactly what you were thinking there.
No, I didn't.
Well, here's a man you'd certainly never insult. A man who may have been christened Terence, but has certainly never been called Terence in his life. Big Tal, Terry Hollands from Dartford.
And from Latvia, Raivis Vidzis.
And the Latvian, Vidzis. Not many world-class athletes come out of Latvia in any sport. Well, this fella's certainly one of them. And it's the big 2. And Hollands gets his nose in front early here. And the officials watching Terry to make sure he gets those elbows locked. We've had 1 or 2 controversies in previous years with Terry Hollands and lifts that weren't given. Vidzis taking it steady, but he's got good rhythm.
Well, all they've got to do is take it down to the shoulders each time, drive it up overhead and lock the arms. They get tired, they're allowed just to put it down on the ground again. They have to be in control all the time here.
Well, they both just about staggered at double figures, but this isn't good enough. This is not good enough, so they need to find a bit more. And Samuelsson's 13 is looking pretty good at the moment. They need 1 more to get level with Rikard Skog, and a couple more to find Bergmann, and Terry's looking really bad here. Vidzis is the guy that's found his second wind. He's put another one on, so he's now level with Skog.
And look at that, the side of the weight, we've had a bit of an equipment failure there, and that's going to make it all the harder for Vidzis to lift. 5 kilos have dropped off the side of the log, and
yes, that doesn't make it easier, does it? It makes that log unbalanced. But look at this, Vidzis has found another one, so he'll go joint second. But Hollands will be really disappointed with that. 11 is really not good enough.
well, the equipment didn't affect Vidzis in the end. He only had a couple of seconds. He managed to get the lift up, so that was good. But hey, Samuelsson, he's won this.
Yeah, what about that? He started off badly, but boy, is he rolling now.
So Magnus, second win in a row now. How important was that log lift?
To be honest, Sven, I think it meant everything. Because if I'm chasing for life now, Ravid, and if he would have won this, I would have lost points. Now I gained, and I have 2 really good events coming up and 1 bad. Hopefully I can win 2 events more, and then, as we said before the meet, I think 4 wins is the key to reach the final. To be honest, in the gym I've been the strongest I've ever been with shoulder press and bench press, and really confident. But saying that, you stand here, you have the sun straight in your face, nothing to focus and balance on. So you have to hold your breath the whole time. So it's really hard effort.
13 reps give Samuelsson victory, but the log press has been something of a disaster for Terry Hollands. Just 11 lifts and his 3 main rivals finishing ahead of him. Back-to-back victories have given the big Swede top spot, and Terry Hollands needs to be very wary of Raivis Vidzis. Remember, he confounded the form books by sneaking into last year's final ahead of much fancied opposition. Terry Hollands needs to move up a gear. It's the big Swede Magnus Samuelsson in control here in Anaheim. Welcome back to the final qualifying round of World's Strongest Man 2007. Now, before the break, we saw Terry Hollands struggling with the overhead log lift and losing his grip on first place. Next up for Terry and our athletes, an event which is quite literally a backbreaker. It's the deadlift.
Well, in the shadow of Queen Mary, these 5 men will have to deal with increasing weights, the deadlift. Those barrels drop in, so the weights go up from 584 pounds to 750 pounds, and it's about how quickly you can do those 7 reps inside, of course, 1 minute 15.
Vidzis from Latvia.
Vidzis is going to go first, and it's all about back strength and quad strength.
He's got a good powerlifting background. Look at that straight away. He's locked into a very good position there. Narrow feet, narrow hands. Pops his back out, gets his chest up. This should be easy for Vidzis. It's really all about the time.
There's a real economy of effort about him. As you say, that powerlifting background really does come to the fore in this event. Seemed to struggle a little bit on that 5th rep. There was a grimace, and an even bigger grimace on the 6th, but he's nailed it. But can he get all 7? That's the question, and it's a bit borderline, but he did it. 30.4 dead and all 7. That's quite a target for the rest of them.
This is just perfect technique. Drops the hips, locks out the shoulders. Last one wasn't that easy though, was it?
Well, he struggled after 5, and it really was
ladies and gentlemen,
big effort.
Terry Hollands from England.
Now, very often these big bodies, these guys with the long arms and legs, this is not an event that favours them. They've got to do so much more work with these lifts, and I think if you ask Terry Hollands which were his favourite events, the deadlift is probably not going to be high on his list, but he's going okay so far.
You know, Terry's really worked on all of his weaknesses. A couple of years ago, that might have been true, but in the last 6 months, Terry's turned this into a strength. This is great stuff, 1 to go.
And he's got a real chance of beating 30.4 as well. Beat it, he's smashed it.
Terry Hollands! Let's hear it for Terry Hollands.
Well, that's a different Terry Hollands. Terry Hollands, who's looked like Bambi on ice with a deadlift sometimes. Well, he's destroyed it there.
Well, for what he lacks in technique, he makes up for in power. What a beast.
That was unbelievable. Fast and powerful. Did you feel the pressure from Raivis doing that?
Yeah, I mean, Raivis put in a good time. I knew it was going to be tough for me to beat. No, I'm pleased with that. It's really given me a boost I needed. I was feeling a bit nervous before this, and luckily I got a good result so far.
Up next, Rickard Skog. Whatever happens here, we get the feeling in Southern California, we are looking at a future superstar in this sport. And who knows, he could even make a final here. He's very much in the mixer after 3 events.
Now, this is the kind of event that someone who hasn't done too much strongman or too much weightlifting is going to struggle at. Sure, he's naturally a giant, but this is a real gym test. Something the guys work out for years.
Well, he's so much slower than both Vidzis and Hollands, isn't he? So it's a case of making sure you get all 7, because the first tiebreaker is, oh, hello, he's in trouble. 5 reps, and you can see Sven Karlsson is in the background here, urging him on. One Norwegian to another, but I don't think even if he had Sven helping him lift here, he's not going to get that 6th.
He's heard Skog, ladies and gentlemen.
Disappointing for Skog, but, well, when you're running with the big dogs, sometimes you have to learn some harsh lessons, and 4 reps, that's a tough lesson to learn.
Well, it shows you it just isn't that easy. I mean, that's still a big weight he's lifting there, Skog. I think he's probably 12 months, 2 years away from seeing the best of him.
Ladies and gentlemen, Magnus Samuelsson from Sweden.
Now, anytime you're nursing a back injury, this is an event that must make your heart sink. He'll want to get through it as fast as he possibly can and try and protect that back. He certainly jumped out to a quick one.
Well, look at his technique. He stands up each time, takes a huge breath in. That almost works like a second belt, squeezing his abs in. And it's working.
He even had time to fix his shades there. Look at that. Now he's had to take them off. He doesn't need no shades. His future's looking very bright as it is. Well, can he get all 7? I don't think he's going to beat Hollands or Vidzis. In fact, he's not. The clock's beating him there, but 7 reps would be terrific for Samuelsson.
Unbelievable!
Oh, look at that.
I can't believe it. Nick, Magnus Samuelsson has never been known as a deadlifter. And with a bad back as well. This has to go down as one of Magnus's greatest performances. Really one of his worst events. What a turnaround.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Bergmann from the United States of America.
Our MC always says United States of America, in case we confused it with the United States of somewhere else, I guess. Oh, look at this. Let's see what he can do. He's got the perfect build for this event, the man from Wisconsin, but having the build is one thing, having the execution is another.
Yeah, you put Samuelsson and him next to each other, it's like little and large. Long arms, short back, he's perfect for this. What a demonstration this is, it's good.
He's struggling on number 6, though. He's got it. Now, 26.99 has gone. Can he get in past Vidzis at 30.4? It's going to be close. It's going to be really close. No, he can't do it. Is he going to make it? Yes, he does. He doesn't beat Vidzis, but he does get in ahead of Samuelsson, so he'll take 3rd place.
What a demonstration that was. A demonstration on really how not to do it in the end. Jacking it up his thighs. Big Tell will be pleased with that. But he had to keep his air in to keep his core tight. Look at the pressure. Imagine 750 pounds on your thighs.
What a comeback from Terry Hollands, blitzing the opposition in an event that doesn't usually suit him. Raivis Vidzis, again impressive with another 2nd place, but Magnus Samuelsson, still wary of that injured back, has to settle for 4th. Hollands back in command and Magnus Samuelsson slipping from 1st to 3rd. Can Vidzis hang on to that 2nd spot and spring another surprise? Well, Terry Hollands appears to be back on track after that very brave performance in the deadlift. Coming up next, though, for Britain's Strongest Man, an event he really struggled with in last year's competition. From Huntington Beach, it's the keg toss.
Yep, there it is. 13 foot high. All you've got to do is pick up those 10 barrels and throw them over your shoulder inside 90 seconds. The quickest you can do it, the better your chance for getting maximum points. And each of those kegs weighs 50 pounds. Very often you see the first 2 or 3 just get thrown over like they're bean bags. Then they start to make themselves known, and it gets harder and harder. And once you lose your rhythm on this one, it's tough to get it back. Lots of different ways to do this. You can do it that way, get it between your legs, or you could hold it upright and toss it back behind you as well if you want to. And Bergmann is obviously going for that wide stance and the big swing, and it's paying off for him.
He's not a tall man, Bergmann, but he's wearing at least 3-inch platforms, I think, from where we can see here. And that's just adding to the length of his legs so he can get that enormous barrel between them.
Oh, look at that, going for some swing, but he lost all his momentum there. He had to stop because, you watch here, he has trouble swinging that between his knees. and he just checks. And that's what's caused him to lose his rhythm here. And this is not good news for Bergmann if he has to settle for 4. Very unlikely to get any kind of decent score here whatsoever, and that barrel isn't getting any closer. This is big trouble for Jason Bergmann.
Every keg counts here. Raivis Vidzis, not so tall either, could struggle. If he can get 5 or 6, just puts that bit more pressure on Vidzis, because I'm sure Terry Hollands and Samuelsson, and indeed Skog, will be battling it out on the 10 kegs for time.
Well, I think he's done here. Yeah, he's just not going to go, and he put everything into that last one. And then he says, you know what, it's not going to be, is it? Started off so well, but once that 5th keg refused to go, in the battle between Jason Bergmann in the keg,
Jason Bergmann.
well, there was only one winner. It never got close.
Ladies and gentlemen, Raivis Vidzis from Latvia.
A real power pack of a man. He's been successful at this before, but he doesn't have the natural build for it. Whoa. Well, if he can do a few more of those. Again, it's a lot of technique here. Look at how he... Oh, no. His technique went rather awry there, but you can see what he's doing. He keeps it very, very low and tries to go for that power on the upswing. And that's what's working for him. But look, he doesn't go for the long swing of Bergmann. He keeps it low, it's compact. And then all that energy is converted into the upswing.
Well, he's taking his time. He knows he's not the best at this, and he's got to try and make each one count, and that's him gone ahead of Bergmann. That was so important for him to get that barrel over. Now he's got to try and put the pressure on the big boys.
It swung and it hung, but it came down the wrong side of the net. And Vidzis has slowed. Yeah. How often do you see this? The first time it misses, that's usually big trouble. And maybe 5 kegs is going to be it for Vidzis, and it was looking so good for him. I thought, boy, this guy's really worked this event out, because it's not one of his stronger events. That's terrific. That could be a little bonus for him. Still got a bit of time.
Hey, let's not forget, last time Terry Hollands did this, he struggled to do 2 or 3. He was terrible, despite his height. So I'm sure that's playing in the back of Terry's mind coming into this. He might have practiced it and had time to train it, but you can see Vidzis, he had all the technique right. He just burnt out, as simple as that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Skog from Norway.
Well, he's enjoying himself here, Skog, isn't he? I don't think he set any great ambitions for himself here, other than just to enjoy himself, pick up some experience, work with some of the legends of the sport, hang out with guys like Sven Karlsson, who really has taken to this young man. Well, everybody has here. Well, he's making short work of these kegs. Do they do this on army manoeuvres? This isn't some United Nations trick he's picked up somewhere on his travels, is it? Get the beers in.
Now, you wouldn't mind having Richard Skog on your side in any kind of war, would you? Just a phenomenal looking character, and really just, it's hard to believe he just hasn't done that much gym work in his life. He's just natural. I mean, this is a kind of natural event, isn't it? Just a big bear like Skog. Just comes so easy to him.
Well, 7 is good enough for first place. Well, let's see if he can just put another one on the board. And it doesn't look like he's going to make it. He's really taken his time with that, as if to say, well, I don't really want to do this anymore. The body language sometimes really tells a tale. He put a lot into that and didn't get close, and I think it's going to be 7 and out for Richard Skog.
I'm a bit surprised with that. I thought he might do all 10 here and put in a good time. Good news for Terry Hollands, but doesn't do Skog's chances of making the final any good at all.
Well, he takes first place, but Terry Hollands, who's been working hard at this event, and Magnus Samuelsson, who knows this event very well, still to come.
Ladies and gentlemen.
You see in the beginning, great power. There's a good 2, maybe even 3 foot clearance there. Look how far away he was, just not realizing where he was on the platform.
Ladies and gentlemen, Magnus Samuelsson from Sweden.
Really does have an amazing record, doesn't he, in strongman. Always tends to reach the final. Oh, and he's flipped that over like it was a couple of feathers. Now, can you keep that going? 7 is not a particularly high benchmark. The interesting thing will be to see what Terry Hollands does. Remember the nightmare he had at this event in the final last year, and 2 and a stumble here from Samuelsson. Well, he's put an awful lot into those first 2. A lot of wasted effort there because it's only got to clear 13 feet. That's clearing more like 15. And that one's way up there as well. 7 is the target from Skog, and there's 5.
You know, we only have to look back through Magnus's career to realise what a great man he is. 1995 was the first world's strongest man he did, and he broke the world record in barrel throwing that year. But this, of course, for repetitions rather than maximum, and he's still good at it, isn't he? Look at that incredible height he's achieving here. Could be a bit quicker, though.
Well, it looks like he's going to get all 10. After that one little stumble, and there it is, yeah. Right back in business. 1:04.78 is the time. And I don't know if Terry Hollands will be looking at this and saying, well, do I try and beat that, or do I just try and get half a dozen of these things over? Yeah, come back next year.
Which way to the beach?
Ladies and gentlemen,
Here's Terry Hollands, and remember, he had a nightmare in heats last year, just managed 2 kegs. And it's very difficult, if you want to be a strongman winner, to have a weak event. 2 wasn't good enough. How much work has he managed to put in the interim? Oh, and that's an awful start for Terry.
He's smiling away there. He knows he's made a terrible start, but he's cool, Terry. He's a real cool customer these days. Last year, he just panicked when that happened.
And now he's getting some rhythm, and this will give him some confidence as well. I'm sure his heart sank when that first one hit the tin and came back down. That gets him past Bergmann, but he's got his sights set a little bit higher than that. Oh, it just made it. So level with Vidzis. One more will put him level with Skog, and he's done just that, and he's got a real chance at Samuelsson's 1:04.78 here. That may have gone right there, though. 7 kegs. 8, it's a massive improvement, though, and I'm sure, well, he's going to be second here, and I'm sure he'll be delighted with that. If you'd offered him second place at the start of this event, he'd have bitten your arm off.
Oh, that last one went up so quick. He could have done it. What's he doing here? He's got a little smile on his face. Now, this is the party trick. He's been saying he could do it with one hand.
Oh, he can't. What a wimp.
Yeah, not bad effort, though. I think he could have done that if he was fresh.
By the way, Terry, when I called you a wimp there, that was a little joke, right? Good stuff from Hollands. Bonus points, keeps him well on course for the final. He'll be happy with this.
Terry, you must be really confident. Trying to throw the last barrel with one hand.
I realised I wasn't going to beat Magnus by then, so I just thought, why not? I've already got second place, I might as well have a go. Yeah, I was just more for a bit of fun than anything else.
Well, good job anyway.
Thank you.
Well, Terry Hollands may not have won the event, but there's no doubt he wins the Entertainment Award. 25 kilos, one hand, and very, very nearly clearing a 4-metre wall. That 4th place for Vidzis could prove expensive. Things are so tight at the top of this group now. Just 3 points separate the top 3. There's also a battle at the bottom of the table as the 2 impressive rookies fight to avoid the wooden spoon. Join us after the break to see if Terry Hollands can qualify for the final and whether Vidzis can beat Samuelsson.
Well, this is what it's all about, isn't it? The signature event of strongman, the Atlas stones. Those stones get heavier in weight, the plinths get shorter, but your arms just get drained of all their strength the longer it goes on. You've got 75 seconds to put 5 stones on top of 5 platforms. And how many times have we seen strongmen crowned, or indeed dethroned, on the Atlas stones? One guy always has to go on his own. This time it falls to Jason Bergmann, who is not going to be troubling us in the final. But no matter, he hasn't disgraced himself, the young American. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of the man from Wisconsin over the years.
He had a couple of good events, a couple of bad events. The deadlift was excellent for him. Fingers, it's more of a tall man's event. He struggled a bit. This is anybody's event, and look how good he is here. This shows you how athletic he is. Quick, fast, explosive.
And he's put that fifth plinth on, or that fifth stone on the plinth in a very good time indeed. Well, he can go away with a smile. That is not shabby at all.
Well, the Americans are referring to him as a mini Marius. Don't know if he's quite Marius' standard yet, but certainly a potential.
Ladies and gentlemen, Skog from Norway.
And another man that's not going to be troubling us in the final this year, against someone who may well be in the mix for major honours this time. If Terry Hollands can get it all together, he's a genuine prospect for this year's title. He'll want to sign off with a good run on the stones. And this is the point, I think, for Terry Hollands. He's been up and down in previous events. If you're going to win this thing, you can't have a weakness, can you?
Well, for those of us who've watched closely Terry Hollands' career, remember when he failed to get into the final the first time he came to Worlds a couple of years ago on the stones, and it shocked him. It was a real confidence knock. Last year he did so well, and he's just getting better and better, Terry. He's a real contender this year, a genuine potential podium man in the final.
So there he is. Good points again for the Atlas Stones. Fast time, 22.04. Much more of an all-rounder these days, Terry Hollands. So much improved over the last couple of years.
Raivis Vidzis from Latvia.
Now then, this is going to be interesting, isn't it?
Magnus Samuelsson from Sweden.
Samuelsson currently in second place. But it couldn't be much closer, could it? Vidzis needs to beat him and hope that Samuelsson comes 2 places lower. Hollands is into the final, we know that. Samuelsson almost certainly will join him because he's very good at this event, and I don't think there's too much Vidzis can do about this. Unless he has a breakdown here, Samuelsson, he's going to be joining Terry Hollands. 1 stone to go, and he is struggling, but he's just made it. That's good enough. Any result where he beats Vidzis, he knows he's through. Raivis is complaining about something, but I'm not sure what he's complaining about.
I think it's tacky glue, the glue that the guys wear up their forearms that helps stick to the stones, just ran out. Lots of sand blowing onto those stones. And, well, the smart money was always on Samuelsson winning that. They used to call him the king of the stones. Some people still do, but the old king certainly put in a good time there, didn't he? Just enough to beat Vidzis.
So, Terry, everything according to game plan?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it all went. I don't feel like I've done too much. Not burnt myself out too much, saved a little bit back for the final. Yeah, I'm just pleased to get there and in one piece.
So, prediction for the final now?
I mean, my aim coming into this was to make top 3, and that's still the aim now. I genuinely believe I can achieve that if I perform to my best.
King of the Stones Magnus Samuelsson takes first place, 0.2 of a second ahead of Terry Hollands in one of the most impressive Atlas Stone contests of the qualifying heats. Victory for Samuelsson earns him a final place, but it's England's Terry Hollands who wins a very tough group. No joy for Raivis Vidzis this year. Skog and Bergmann can be extremely proud of their debut efforts. Well, they say win ugly, and Terry Hollands will be delighted to have qualified for the final with plenty left in the tank. Magnus Samuelsson will also be pleased to have qualified for yet another final after such a disappointing contest last year. So we have our finalists, and the ultimate challenge now awaits 10 of the world's strongest men. Join us next time for the final of World's Strongest Man. But until then, I'll leave the final words to our host here in Beverly Hills. Greg, over to you.
Goodbye from Beverly Hills. Have a nice day.
And you can catch that final tomorrow. Next tonight, we travel to Alaska, one of the most uninhabited parts of the world, apart from the wild bears and a fella called Charlie.